So, hello everyone, welcome back to yet another session from PyCray Forge. I'm Rahul, and today we will talk about uh, how do I crack a technical interview when I don't have any real work experience. And this is one of the most important topic, which creates a lot of anxiety amongst the freshers or the recent graduates who are trying to join any organization. Before we delve into deep into this topic, let's go back and talk about the last session where we covered how to build a profile that get noticed and how to pick the right role. These are few topics which we have already discussed in our previous sessions, and I would like to mention it here. Please go back to these videos, which is available on PyCray Forge YouTube channel, and you can watch them. It is in line. The current today's session is in line with those sessions, and it will create a lot of impact if you kind of follow from session one to session fourth. So today we are in session four, and we will discuss about uh, one of the most important topic, which is required for any freshers to understand so that they can create good impact in the interview. Uh, one of the important questions which everyone thinks or and they fear is, what do I actually say when I get into an interview room, whether it's an online interview or whether it's a offline in-office interview. We always think about these questions, that what should I talk about? How do I explain my project? And what do I do when the interviewer asks me something I don't know? Uh, and these questions are very prevalent, and these are very relevant in the context of a fresher or someone who has just graduated. And it was relevant for me also when I passed out in from my college, when I was trying to join an organization, because having zero work experience, it always create that doubt that whether I'm employable or not. But it is important for everyone who is listening to this session to understand that having zero work experience does not mean you have nothing to talk about. You have definitely done a project. You have decisions which you have taken in those projects and in the assignments which were provided to you during your academic course. You have faced problems. You have learned things. You have faced challenges, and challenges has made you learning how to communicate all of that. You might have definitely communicated it to your friends, to your professors. And interviewer is not different. They are also a person who is trying to find or figure out who is a good fit for that role. And that's what we are going to talk about in today's session. We will talk about all the important facts which is required for you to excel. We will talk about the frameworks which you should be following and which you should be utilizing while you are preparing for this role. Before we get into the session, let me quickly give you a brief about PyCray from where we belong. PyCray Technologies is a company focused on helping startups and SMEs, that is small and medium businesses and enterprises, to build a digital platform for them and scale digital products. Every platform, every industry, every organization in today's era, in today's scenario, requires a digital setup for them to excel. Our work spans from stack engineering, AI implementations, product developments, and go to market executions. And why I'm telling this, because we work with technology teams. Our main focus is to deliver products which build revenue for the clients. And while we are doing all these work, we have hired a lot many candidates. We have interviewed a lot many candidates. We have evaluated them on their technical know-how, and we see where the struggle is. Right, in those interviews, we have like kind of saw. pattern which is very relevant in today's scenario. Why it is occurring and how it is occurring and how to deal with that is very important for you to understand. So today's session is based not only on interview theory, but also on what actually gets evaluated when someone is hiring a technology role. Okay. Uh, Before that, let me quickly introduce myself. I am co-founder at PyCray, and I work primarily across sales solutioning, that is technology solutioning, product development, and client-facing discussions. I have 10 plus years of experience with a academic background from IIM Udaipur. Along with me, I have my co-founder, Mahesh. He's he has a very good experience in technology delivery, that is product delivery. And he has also a very extensive experience in hiring people and leading some of the good initiatives here in PyCray. Without investing more time on these, let's talk uh, about what is important for someone who has got a chance to give an interview. and and this is a movement which every freshers feel dreaded about, because they think they fear from interviewers, they fear from people who come and talk to them, what questions they will ask. So let's start with a situation. Let's start with a situation wherein we are sitting in a room and an interviewer, as you can see on the screen, is asking you, I see you have mostly done college projects with no real work experience. And then he asks you to explain your work experience, and suddenly your brain goes blank. You start thinking, should I talk about the app which I have developed, maybe a to-do app, maybe a simple result-based platform which I have created as my project? Should I talk about my internship? Should I make my project sound bigger? Should I lie? Why didn't and then after all these questions which will come very instantaneously to you, there will be a doubt which will come. Why I didn't prepare this, why someone didn't tell me, why I didn't write this answer, because now every day everyone is writing that answer and memorizing and repeating it in the interview. This has happened in the past, which we have seen. Maybe I should have done something else. Like these questions comes to any fresher, and it is very normal. It is very normal to kind of feel like this. Uh, and that is what exactly we are going to solve today. You don't need to pretend that you have 5 years of experience, you have 2 years of experience, you have 10 years of experience, you have done certain project as an internship. You need to learn how to present. You need to learn how to deliver the facts, deliver the projects which you have done in a way wherein you make the interviewer understand what decisions you have taken, what approach which you have taken, what understanding which you have developed, what were the challenges which you have faced in the project work which you have done at your college. And in between all these, why I'm saying this, the college project becomes very important, because that's a real work which you do in your academic journey. That's the real thing which you try to deliver to someone to understand that what is exactly being done in solving those problems, in solving those real world questions, which generally arises while we are also working for an organizations like us. We will understand this point more in clear from this, wherein we will understand the mindset. The mindset is like, uh, is I am leaving, is I am behind everyone, is everyone is leading in some or the other areas, is everyone is understanding. So let's change the way you think about this. You are not behind, you are at the beginning, because you are just starting, you're just completing your career, right? Like, in terms of your academic understandings, and you are starting a new phase wherein you will join certain organization, and you will deliver some projects with them. You will understand how a work is done in a real corporate world. And the first idea which you should be always thinking about is, you are at the beginning, and that is where uh, interviewer, while you are answering these questions, an interviewer will understand that uh, what they are evaluating in terms of the questions which they are asking, in terms of the know-how which they are evaluating. They will understand from your communication, because you will be curious, and at the same time you will be confident. They will understand that uh, you are able to understand the problems what you have completed during your academic, properly. You have understood the problems, you have understood the approach, and you are curious to learn and deliver some value to the organization. Now, the value part is very important to understand. Every organization who is hiring you is kind of looking at certain values which you will deliver to them. They are not taking you to get trained, but at the same time, they will help you in understanding the nuances of the works which you will do at their organization. So they are expecting a value add from your side, and that's what an interviewer will evaluate in you while they will have a discussion with you in the interview. The major part of the interview is this evaluation. We will talk about the basically different stages of the interview, which is generally there. There are four stages. We will discuss in the later slides. But an interviewer will evaluate you on your technical know-how, and how you are good, if it is a technical round, and if it is a business round, wherein they will evaluate you whether you are a good fit or not. They will try to get into the details about how you solve those problems. Okay. One of the dangerous myths which is there in the market is, I don't have any experience as of now. What I will say, what I will speak, on what basis I will speak, and will they even consider me for this role? One of the important points to understand here is, anyone with a 3 years or 4 years or 2 years of experience, they also fail while demonstrating these capabilities. They also fail while they explain what they have done. They also fail while understanding the problem statements which the interviewer is asking. So it's not like if you have experience, you will be able to solve those problems. You will be able to answer those questions. It is also important to understand that with a good framework, you will do better than an experienced person answering those questions to the interviewer. I have even seen experienced people fail in interview because they don't clearly answer utilizing certain frameworks, like understanding the problem statement, and then knowing the deep meaning, what to answer. solving those problems with certain frameworks like context, action, and result, what context which was there, what problem which they faced, what action which they took, and what results which they drove from the problems. These are some of the challenges which is there, and this is a myth, right? Like if I am experienced, I'll be able to answer properly. It's not like that. Uh, One of the important thing here which comes to a fresher's mind is the communication skill, and that is definitely a soft skill which is very essential for anyone to kind of do good in any communication evaluations which is done, and interview being one of them. And I think that's a different day discussion, I guess. We should be taking it in some another session, the communication skill. And it is also important for you to kind of understand that while communication is one of the factors, understanding about the problem and how to solve it is very important. I will pause here and I will kind of give you a time to kind of think about what is that project which you have done, which you can explain properly, which you can think about more clearly, uh, which you will answer to some interview while you face it. So I think you would have taken time and you would have taken a note of that in your notebook, and you are ready for that. Some like for the journey. Now we will be understanding the different rounds which is conducted. We will understand the different basically the different sessions generally which is conducted by the different organization, and this is like these are the four stages which is generally there in any organization, starting with the HR screening, then the technical round, then the project round, and then the culture fit. Having said that, different organizations have different rounds which is mixed and match. Maybe in certain organization you will only have two rounds, that is a technical round and a culture fit plus HR screening. Secondly, you may have only project round and culture fit round. Before I move forward, can you, I think, let me quickly share back my screen. So participants present on this call, Monisha, can you please confirm if the PPT is visible, if the screen is visible? Okay, great. We will resume. Okay, so we will be talking about the different sessions which is generally conducted at different organizations, right? That is starting from an HR screening, then the round two generally being the technical round, round three generally being the project round, and then the culture fit round. Before we go deep into any round, I want to give you a full map because half the anxiety in the interview comes from not knowing what is coming next. From here, I would like you to uh, kind of understand the fact that there will be organization which will do two or three technical rounds in itself, and that is fine. That will be considered under the cluster of technical round. There will be organization who will call you for a dinner, that is a culture fit round, and we will understand more about it. So before that, let's understand the HR screening round. The question here isn't really about skill in this round. It is simply you can speak, you are coherent, Uh, and this is generally a background check. Like and it will help you to understand the organization more. You should be asking good questions right from the HR. What is the organization about? What they do, where all they are based out of, what all are their policies. This round is for you to do a good conversation with the HR to try to understand about the organization. At the same time, for the HR to understand you, whether you are a good fit or not, in terms of your communication skills, whether you are coherent or not, whether you have taken a time to go through the organization's details, whether you have visited their website. These things they will try to understand from you, whether you have invested your time in understanding the organization, in understanding the work which is there. So they will not ask any technical questions. And few things here to kind of keep in your bag. Now, if you have notebook, please take a note. Don't badmouth about your college. Don't say you are applying because you need a job or any job. That's it. Like these two important points you should keep in your bucket every time. You will definitely clear this round. So that's it. Like HR screening is all about you talking to HR, HR talking to you, both of you are understanding about the organization, they are understanding about you, what you are doing, what all are your likes, dislikes, and whether you are a good fit for the organization or not. Round two being one of the most important if you are joining a technical organization in a technical role. We will discuss about the roles in coming slides, but in any technical organization, this is an important round to clear. So here what they judge you, can you solve the problem? Are you a problem solver or not? Do you think logically or not? Now, some of these points we have already covered in our earlier sessions. And again, I'll request you, if you are here, please go back to those sessions, visit our YouTube channel, look at these sessions, because since it's a series, it will help you to understand what we are talking about more coherently. Because we have discussed in one of the sessions, we have discussed what should be the correct role which you should be joining. So while you are joining, while you are into your technical round, expect questions wherein you should be solving some problem. And one of the important pointers here to consider, that most important thing, this is the hardest round which you need to clear, and a right preparation with right tools will help you to clear this round. While I say tools, it is the thought process, it is the logical thinking, it is how you break a problem statement and tackle it. There will You will be asked multiple questions. Maybe you may not know few of them. How you should handle those questions, how you will be handling those answers if you don't know, that is important. We'll spend in further slides, we'll spend about a substantial time in understanding what questions will be asked corresponding to the different roles, and what should be an ideal answer in some of the examples. Next round is the project round, which we say, wherein you will be asked, maybe you will be given a case study to solve. Maybe you will be asked simply in the interview that walk me through something which you built. Now, in certain organization, again, I am mentioning this, technical round and project round will be combined. Okay. Maybe in the same interview, you will be asked these questions. So don't think that you will always have these segregated rounds, but it is always there. a fresher or any technical role which you are getting into in any technical organization, this is always there. So they will ask you these questions. Walk me through something you built. What decision did you make? What broke? What problems which you faced? What would you do differently? And this is where your portfolio, even if it is a modest one, either signs or fails completely flat. Now, we have discussed about building a good portfolio in our last session. Please go through that. I'll request you to go through that to first of all understand what's a good portfolio is. Then it will become very clear that what we are currently talking about. Lastly, again, there will be a culture fit round or a round which will be combined with the HR round, wherein they will try to understand whether you are a good fit for the team or not, because there will be an existing team which will be there in which you are getting hired since you are a fresher. We are very specifically talking about freshers today. So they you will be judged on those parameters, like whether your style of working, whether your ambitions, whether your short-term goals, whether your long-term goals, how you approach something, your attitude. They will try to judge you on these parameters. And while we talk about technical round and the project round being important round, most of the freshers, which in my experience I have seen and evaluated over these years, see failing on these parameters. They are very underprepared for this one. They think that it is just talking, but it is not. One of the important skills in this round, which is just I'll tell you to take a note of this, put it in your bag. You should be asking good questions. And we are going to cover all four today, but I want to be upfront. We are going deepest on the round two and three. That is being one of the toughest round for any freshers to clear. That is where most freshers actually lose the interview and they get basically removed from the interview rounds. And we will understand more in details about these two rounds. We'll understand from examples. But having said that, the HR round and the culture fit round is also important. Okay, let's start with the big one. If you will look at here is the single sentence. I want you to remember this from this entire section. It is not what you know, it is how you think when you don't know. I'll repeat this one again. It is not what you know, it is how you think when you don't know. Let that sink in for a second, because almost every fresher I have spoken to prepares for the technical round by trying to know more. They 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 cram more DSA, they memorize more questions, interview questions, they memorize more definitions, they go to different websites. Like they will search hundreds of websites, even they will prepare notes in their notebooks. Like they will spend all sort of time in writing everything, taking notes of the interview questions, writing concepts, invest a lot of time in all of these things, trying to learn, memorize, and then recreate it even till before the night of the interview. And to the fact that they forget one thing, that all these theoretical things, all of these theoretical elements remain there in the notebook, and you will be asked questions when you have faced real world challenges. Okay, let me show you the wrong approach first. Let me talk about this section, the wrong approach, wherein if you don't know something about some answer about technical questions which is being asked, which an interviewer is asking you to kind of explain, and you are not very confident about it. Generally, what happens, we have seen, is there is a silence, a blank stare which will be there. Candidates generally mention that, okay, I don't know this, I'm not sure about this. These are some of the phrases which you will hear, and maybe which you would have even heard or even spoken. But what happens with all these phrases, all these silences, all these breaks which you take? It breaks the momentum of the interviewer. It breaks the momentum of the interview process in itself. And interviewers start losing that confidence on you, because think about it. You have not given them any point to even think or evaluate you, right? You have given no signal. You have given no signal for the interviewer to even ask you a question, right? Like, you're just stopping that conversation. So let's understand what is a right approach, what you should be speaking in that case if you don't know an answer. So it can go like this: I haven't worked with this specifically, but based on how similar system works, maybe you might have worked on similar lines on something else. Think about it. Pause for a while. Think about some examples. Try to remember something which you would have done in your project work, which you would have done in your academic assessments, right? Maybe in some examination which you would have done. Think something relevant to that question. Something. I'm not telling that you make up something, but something which may be parallel. So which can explain something, right? Think about something. And then say, here is, I would like to think about it, and then give that example. Like what example you can take in this? So let's take an example. If someone is coming and asking you, do you know the agno framework? Now, I'm not aware about the agno framework. What I will do is I will try to remember if I know certain frameworks corresponding to the AI agent which is being built. Now, this is AI agent framework. So think about, if you know something about, if you know some other frameworks which is there, maybe you can answer it like, okay, I'm not very sure about this, but I have read about some other framework which is there, and I can explain something there. So keep a open conversation there. So what it will do is it will help you in kind of taking a conversation from a zero state to some other to some extent, wherein you are explaining something, creating some interest in the interviewer. And there is a simple formula sitting underneath the right approaches, which is a three-step one. State what you know, name the gap honestly. So how do you approach the finding answer? Okay, this is, remember this: state what you know and name the gap. Basically, understand the gap which you are unaware about, and state them honestly to the interview. And so how do you approach the finding answers? Okay, that is it. Uh, you need to practice this one. Take your time, sit when you are free, take certain interview questions from the web, try to answer them. If you don't know about the answer, try to think in this framework and try to answer it like that. This will help you in kind of creating a habit of answering any question like this. Now let's go before we get into understanding what is being asked and generally a technical round. We'll go one level deeper, because thinking out loud is a skill, and I like any skill, it has specific technique inside it. While you are thinking out loud means while you are speaking and thinking, right? Like you try to create a memory map, which will help you in kind of approach these frameworks more clearly, and take them to a point that when you are there in interview, when you don't know about something, you will not become panic. It will help you in kind of solving those challenges. Point number one is narrate your approach. Don't solve silently in your head and then announce the answer, the final answer to the interviewer, or whenever you are practicing also. Say I am thinking about this as a two-step problem. First, this is two-step problem. Then you can tell your approaches. Okay, first is this, and then is this. Even if you end up going down the wrong path, it is fine. Interviewer will understand that you are thinking logically, and logical thinking we have already discussed in our previous sessions is very important for any technical person to work. Breaking down the problem is is an is very important skill which you should learn. Okay. Number two is signal your transitions. When you change direction, right? So when you are shifting from one answer to the another, explain the approach which you are thinking, right? And that is a signal approach, right? And you are signaling the interviewer that okay, now you have the limited knowledge in that part, and now you are shifting, right? And then if you don't know anything very explicitly, mention it. Acknowledge that you don't know this element properly, and then you can explain it, the boundary of your knowledge, that okay, your knowledge is limited to these facts, but you understand something else also in that direction. So this will help you in kind of navigating these challenges which we were discussing. This will help you in practicing the three steps which I have mentioned, right? And I will urge you after this session, please go sit with one or two problems and try to practice this one. We'll come to the important roles which generally there in any technical organization, starting from front end. Then we have a back end. Then we have product managers, then we have project managers, then we have QA engineers. Now, backend, we have already talked about it. Backend is a very big team. It generally consists of data engineers, backend developers, API engineers, DevOps, infra team, security team, and whatnot. There may be other names also in certain other organizations, right? In PyCray, we have a backend which is divided into majorly two sides, the API side part of things, and then there is the DevOps and the infra team, which manages the security and the DevOps element for any product or the project which we do. Okay. And fundamentally, all these roles are more or less same. Whether we say an Gen AI engineer, whether we say a AI engineer or AI/ML engineer or anything else, more or less it will lie in these segments only. Now, if you're going for a front end role, expect questions on DOM and event handling. Now, I'm giving certain examples here, okay? Very limited certain examples, but expect more, prepare for more. But these are some of the examples which I am kind of explaining for you to kind of understand what to expect in what role and how you can tackle them, right? So if you are going for a front end role, expect question on DOM and event handling, the CSS box model, asynchronous Java script, how React actually re-renders and why that matters for performance, and accessibility basics like ARIA and semantic HTML. These are some of the important concepts which is generally asked from a front-end role, right? For backend, REST versus GraphQL, right? Database indexing. Database is one of the important element in any AI ML projects or any data platform projects which we do. Databases, understanding about structured and unstructured data, understanding about the data pipelines, understanding about the data engineering elements is very important for you to get into any of these roles, right? If you're getting into the data role, if you're getting into the APIs, understanding about the REST APIs, GraphQL, why it is important, what is the difference, it is very important, right? Then what happens end to end in HTML request and why n plus one query problem is important. These are some of the important questions which is asked. Now, these are certain examples which I am as of now explaining, which you can take back. Maybe you can research, and there are a lot many which is important, and it is very specific to the role which you are applying within any organization. Third is the product manager. And one of the essential, before I get into the details of the product manager role, what questions you can ask, it is very essential to understand who are a good fit for this role, for a front end role, for a back end role, for a product manager role, for a project manager role. We have already conducted a session on this. Please, again, I'll mention this. Please go and watch the video. You will understand who is a good fit for this role. While you are even studying in your third year or final year, how you can prepare for these roles, what all elements are important for you to kind of excel in these roles, elements in terms of the skills, right? The hard skills and the soft skills and the core skills, which is essential uh, for you to kind of develop to excel in these roles. Now I will come to the product manager role, and product manager is being one of the very hot role as of now, if you will say, for the graduates, not for the technical graduates like the from the undergrad grad programs, but for post graduations. This is one of the hottest role as of now in the market. And one of the essential things which you should be preparing is the prioritization frameworks, prioritization features. How do you define success criteria? How do you validate the success criteria? How will you handle stakeholders who disagrees with you? Okay, how will you define the roadmaps and the frameworks corresponding to that? This is one of the things which you should be learning about and you should be preparing about. Next is the project manager. For a project manager, you expect questions around maybe how do you handle a delayed dependency, and this is one of the most essential question which generally is being asked in the interviews of project management, and that's what we have kept. How do you communicate a missed deadline? Your approach to a sprint planning. Now, you need to understand the different project planning methodologies like waterfall, like agile. You need to understand these terminologies are way better than anyone else. How you will plan the sprint, how you will unblock something for your team, and there are many more pointers which we have discussed, and I'll not repeat those. Please go back and see those videos. QA, the quality engineer, the heart of any product, which I say generally. Uh, this role help you in building the confidence for your organization. And importantly here you need to kind of design test cases for features you have never seen before. Functional test cases versus non-functional test cases. Go through the difference about this. How do you decide what to automate, what not to automate, right? What a good bug report is all about, how it looks, okay? And for all these roles, whether it's a front-end, back-end product project or QA, how in present scenario, I'm giving extra pointers here in present world, how the AI tools, right? Tools like Codex, tools like Cloud, tools like Cursor, tools like Anti-Gravity, how it will help you in augmenting your work, in 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 making it more faster and efficient, right? Is what you should also be thinking about now, right? You being a fresher, you will be expected to deliver certain features within coming first to second month of the organization wherever you join after clearing the interview, right? And that's what you will be evaluated on. In present scenario, we cannot bar the fact that you will not utilize any of the coding assistant tools and or any of the tools which is present there for augmenting your work. It is expected from the organization side point of view that you will utilize them and you will work more efficiently. Okay. Before I move to the another slide, another section, these aren't, I'll again mention this in star marks, these aren't exotic questions. They come up regardless of company size, regardless of domain. If you walk in any interview, genuinely expect some of them if you are trying to join a technical organization. Okay, extra pointers here because I want to kind of give one or two important things more. There are trap questions, which is generally being asked. Now these are there are one specific question which I want to flag because it is distinguished as a friendly, casual question, and it quietly ends more interviews than people realize. And quotes under quotes, what is something you don't know yet than you want to learn? This is I'll repeat this question. What is something you don't know yet that you want to learn? This question sounds very harmless, right? Like it is okay. Someone is asking me that whether I'm a progressive candidate or not. I want to learn something new. Here is what most people say and why it fails. I want to learn. Generally, this answer we have heard, and I have taken note of this answer, and I'm kind of giving it back to you that I want to learn more about everything in tech, right? And this becomes too vague. It tells the interviewer nothing. Okay. Second important line which I have heard is I'm eager to learn new things. And that's not an answer which you should be giving. Here is what actually you should be speak if you want to take it in if you want to answer this question, if you're answering this question, take you should be specifically pair your answer with certain technologies, with certain examples. Okay, like I'll give you a strong example and then we will move to the another section. I have built a basic REST API, but I haven't worked with WebSockets yet. Given that this role involves real-time features, okay, and now these things you will understand while you do a cross questioning to the interview that what they are expecting out of this question. And that is very essential. You should always ask question, clarifying questions. And this is again an important note. Ask as many clarifying questions to the interviewer as you can. Okay. So again, going back to the example, you can tell, given that this role involves real-time features, that's the gap which currently I have as of now, and I'm most focused on closing it. I'll try to read, I'll try to understand more about it, try to find more details around it, so that when I'm joining this role, I'm ready for tackling those problems. Okay. Uh, please take a note on that, and then it is all good for you to answer. So we have already discussed about like thinking out loud while you are having a conversation, while you are doing a conversation with the interviewer, while you are asking those questions from them, clarifying questions, right? Uh, Thinking out loud means you are asking those questions from the interviewer again and again. You are trying to clarify and then answering it and then building on top of that. You are narrating the approach which you are taken. You are signaling the transitions. We have already understood about it, how to signal the transition, and then you are acknowledging basically on the facts that that is not very explicitly understand for which you do not have the explicit understanding, right? You are mentioning about it, and then you are moving, and then you are transitioning. uh, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Please pause the video. For now, I'll move to the next section. Please pause the video, read the question and read the answer. How to answer, like if someone is asking how does database indexing work, read the answer, and then try to fit in the framework which we have discussed. Okay. We have already discussed about this, so we will skip this one. uh, Again, the project round, we discussed about the project round, and we will get into a bit more details here. What happens in the project round is, let me break these three things to you into in more details for you to internalize and you to think more from an angle. But we have discussed this in our earlier sessions, but I'll give more details here. The first thing which generally an interviewer is trying to understand is the context. The interviewer is genuinely does not care about what website which you have built, what product and application which you have built. They care about why you choose that stack. Okay, why you choose that problem first and foremost. And then they will be more interesting in understanding about the technology stack which you have taken to understand. So let's take an example. We are building very quickly. We are building Ola application, right? There are different frameworks to build Android application. Frameworks like Flutter, frameworks like React. Now you have and for you, I'll take an example that you have taken React as a framework. You have selected it. So if you have selected React as a framework for you to develop the Ola application, you should be very clear about the fact that why did you choose it, first of all. Okay. And and then secondly, what while you were building this, right? What broke, what problems which you faced, and what did you do differently to rebuild it? So I and this line is very important. I'm just saying this. The project is is an excuse to have these conversation. It's just a prop, because your project, what you have done in your academics, what you have done at your institution, what you have done at your college will not help. And definitely you will not be working on those products or the projects. You will be working something else. If it is the same, great. If it is not, in 99% of the scenarios, which happens, then your project is only a prop which you are utilizing to explain your fact. Secondly, your college project, now this point is very important for you to understand as a fresher. Your college project is enough. Why I'm saying this? Because I know some of you are still thinking your project too simple to talk about? Or even is it even worth to talk about? Here is the truth. A simple, well documented project where where you can explain real decisions, right? First of all, the problem, the approach, the decisions which you have taken, right? The problems which you have faced, right? First problem is the problem statement, the problem which you are trying to solve from an application or a website. Second is the approach. Third is the decisions around it. Fourth is the problems which you have faced in kind of solving that problem. And lastly is the result or the consequence. Now we have okay, we'll get into a bit more details about this framework. Okay, and this is very important for you to understand. I'll take some more time. We are at the end of the session, I know, but I'll take some more time today to kind of help you out in understanding. And this is going to take a bit more time today because we are trying to understand something which is very important. Okay, I'll take 5 more minutes in today's session, but yeah. The last point, prepare to go to three layers deep. The third point here in this discussion, for any project you bring up, be ready what it does, then a specific decision you made within it, then the reasoning behind that decision. Okay, important thing, reasoning behind that decision which you have taken. Okay, and expect the why question. So you should be prepared enough to answer 5 whys. Okay, generally interviewer stops at 3 why, but be prepared. Question yourself while you are preparing about the project. Question yourself as much as you can that so let's take an example. I'll give you an example here. I build a feature, sign-in feature, and this is the easiest thing to understand. That's the reason I kind of repeat this example. I build a sign-in feature utilizing a mobile number. Okay. Now I should be asking this why question. Why did I do this? Why did I only pick the mobile number? Why didn't I pick the email ID? Why didn't I pick some other methodology to sign in? So I should be having 5 whys and answers corresponding to those 5 whys. Okay, and expect this type of questioning will be there by the interviewer. And lastly, don't get rattled with any of these. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on to one of the important frameworks which we wanted to discuss in today's session is the PDOC framework, which we say. P stands for problem, D stands for decision, O stands for obstacle, C stands for consequence. And this is one of the most important frameworks which you can utilize in any scenario while you are answering any question. Okay. And this is important mainly in your project round while you are explaining your project. Okay, from problem, what specific problem you are trying to solve and who actually had that, right? Who is the persona? So if you want to understand more about this, please go back to the earlier session. I'll again mention this, and I'm repeating it because we have already discussed in a lot detailed about these points in our earlier sessions. But I'll give you certain examples here. Who is the real persona? For example, uh, I generally take Paytm as an example. So, in the case of Paytm, who is the real persona? Real persona are people like you and me who is trying to make payment. Uh, on various channels, right? Like if I want to recharge something from age group 16 to age group 90 plus, people recharge their uh, uh, mobile phones, people pay bills. So that's a persona for them, right? It's a real person. Okay, what is the specific problem which you are trying to solve? Second is, before we go into the decisions, what is the approach which you have taken? Okay, which comes between the problem and the decision. What is the approach which you are taking to kind of make the decision, right? What was the hardest decision which you made in terms of your tech architecture choice, a feature which you cut, an approach which you tried and reserved? Okay. Third is the obstacle. What broke, what failed, what surprised you in building the project which you have done. And this is generally the most trusted answer in any interview because it proves you actually did the work. Okay. If you are explaining someone that, okay, I failed this problem, I faced this problem while I was designing a replica of Ola, I faced an exam, I faced a problem in rendering the map, and how did I solve it, right? Generally, this is one of the issues which comes. So this is an example. How did I solve utilizing some of the existing frameworks or some of the existing methods? So did I actually reinvent something? Talk about it. And lastly, the consequence, which we say, or the result. What result which you drive? What would you do differently now? How can you enhance it? Even a small result is completely fine. Self reflection is what is judged in this section. What an evaluator want to understand whether you have given a retrospective about the work which you have done, right? And that's what it is about. So use PDOC framework in every project and portfolio which you are defining and designing. Practice it. Again, I am mentioning this. This is all of these frameworks, everything which we are discussing today is important for you to practice. Practice it until each one takes you to each of these frameworks take 2 minutes of your time only to understand and explain for any problem which you have solved. Okay, so we will move on to some of the examples. We have already taken some of the examples, but let's talk about this one. So someone is being asked, like, I build a shopping website. It has a product listing, cart and payment using Razorpay. I use React for front end and Node.js for back end. It took me about 2 months. I'm not able to understand. Now, technically, if I am evaluating this person, uh, I'm not able to understand anything. No problem stated. Why did why did they choose basically Razorpay? Why did they choose React as the framework? Why did they choose Node as the backend framework? No understanding. But if we will use a PDOC framework on top of this, so what we can do is we can blend it with certain examples, like a small vendor in my locality had no way to manage online orders without a dedicated app. I built a lightweight store, no app install needed. The hardest, no, basically, I built a web platform, you can say. The hardest decision was Razorpay versus UPI. I chose Razorpay for the webhook reliability. Get into the details of this. You can pause the video here and then you can go back, search about the answers corresponding to this, and then come back. But I'm giving you an example here. Uh, the cart broke on the concurrent session during the testing. I fixed it with session live locking. Three vendors used it for a month. Two are still using it. Pause, think about it. Let the interviewer also to think, sink in, and let them ask the questions. And if it is not clear, ask those clarifying questions. Okay, is this clear to you? Ask these questions to them. Okay, so this is a real world example of PDOC framework in action. We will move on. Three questions which generally kills an interview and put you out of the interview process is: why did you use this technology? What was the biggest challenge? And what would you do differently if you rebuild this? Now, we have very clearly discussed about this with examples. I'll pause here, take a time, read about these sentences which is there on the screen. Okay. So if you go to for the first example, why did you use this technology? And your answer is because I was learning it. My professor suggested it. That tells the interviewer nothing about your judgment. Okay, I'm just explaining this one, and then we will move on. Uh, the right thing to say is specific reasoning tied to the actual problem you are solving. And then even if it is genuinely it was a learning project, that's fine. You can mention it. Just frame it in a way that it was done for certain purpose. Okay. You were trying to understand and learn certain frameworks. You were trying to understand certain nuances of that frameworks. Mention it and then move on. Okay. Some of these I'll skip for now for the interest of time. These are some of the like very specific questions and some of the specific things which is generally asked, right? These are some of the role specific ones. Like walk me through one specific in front end and back end. Generally, it is being walk me through one specific feature end to end. What edge cases did you handle? Right, a specific person or persona. What did you cut from scope and why? These are some of the things, some of the questions which you can take a time, pause, read, internalize, think about it, why it is asked. But yeah, these are some of the questions which I have given as an example here for you to kind of take it back and do a practice about the frameworks which we have learned. Lastly, the culture fit round. Some of the important questions which I am giving you as a take a bit in today's session is: first is tell me about yourself. What is your biggest weakness? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you have any questions for us? Two question here, question number one and question number four. Okay. This is this is a killer one. Okay. Very important for you to kind of practice this. Tell me about yourself should not be more than 2 minutes. 90 second is the optimal. Okay. This is not your biography. This is not your pitch. Keep a very structured answer for this. Okay. In 20 seconds, you should be talking about who you are, what you have focused on. One sentence, what you are passionate about. Okay. And in 30 seconds, you talk about a project, one decision which you have taken from the PDOC framework. In 20 seconds, you can talk about what you are currently working towards, connect it to the specific role which you are applying to. Do not make it like I want to grow in this organization in 5 years. I want to, that's a different question and different answer. Lastly, in 20 seconds, link it to the fact that why this company, okay? Why this role is actually meeting to the value which we you will provide to the organization. Okay, there are various examples to this which is present on the internet. You can take some of them, which is very much explained. But having said that, utilize the PDOC framework which we have learned some time back, implement it, and then build an answer. You can send it back to me on rahul@pycray.com. If you think that you want a feedback, I'll definitely reply to you if you're sending any note to me on your tell me about yourself question. Lastly, the question number 4, which I mentioned, do you have any question for us? Most of the answers in my experience, the ones which I have rejected, I have seen that interviewee has no questions. Like they are not prepared for this one. You should be asking one specific question about the organization, about the current challenges the organization is facing, and that will help you in kind of having some conversation from the interview and trying to understand the organization. There, you are trying to understand about the work which is going on, and it gives a good intent. It gives a good signal. We discussed about the signals, right? It gives a good signal to the interviewer. Before we go on to the last section of today, three things I want to kind of talk about, and for you to take it back to with yourself from today's session is first is write your PDOC for your best project, one paragraph. Take out time from just after listening this session, sit down for 30 minutes, time yourself delivering it loud. Okay, after writing this, you should be able to say it in 2 minutes. If you go over, keep cutting it until you genuinely can't cut anymore. Okay. Second important thing, record your tell me about yourself. It is very essential. Now, generally, you might have heard about this phrase that first impression is the last impression. It's not like that, but definitely it creates a good impact on the interviewer. So that's the reason I'm giving these three pointers. First is write your PDOC. Second is after you are prepared with your tell me about yourself question, record record it, speak out loud in front of a mirror, record it, and then watch it back. You will understand where you are faltering. Okay. Lastly, prepare your question. Write one specific question which you want to ask from the interviewer about the organization, not the company in general, but be specific. The crux here is being specific. Okay. Before we get into the last section, wherein we will talk about PyCray Forge, uh, so let's discuss like all of these frameworks, all of these things, you and all of the other elements which we discussed in earlier sessions also. We talk about all of them. We talk about we train candidates about all of them in our PyCray Forge program, which we run uh, through PyCray. And you will be, it's not a boot camp, it's not a training program. It's a very structured program. You can go to PyCray website www.pycray.com and /forge, and you can see what it is all about, get into the details. But I want to say that from first day onwards, you will get a good hands-on experience about the product on which you will be working. It's a live product. It will be a live project if you are put into. Okay. Uh, you will understand about real sprints. You will understand about real bugs. You will understand about the real world problems, the challenges the front end, the back end team faces, and the other teams. And lastly, you will be mentored by uh, people like Mahesh and the other industry experts. And it will help you in kind of getting a good exposure about how a real world problem is done or how a real world problem is solved, right? With this, I want to leave you today with few important points. You are not behind. people who crack their first interview aren't the ones with most experience. Okay. They are the ones who prepare more specifically for the role, specifically for the interview, specifically for the interviewer. Okay. And it's your choice to utilize some of the frameworks which is there. Few of them we discussed today. If you join Forge, you will understand more how it goes into action. But it is very essential for you to practice. With this thought, thanks everyone for joining in today. Uh, we'll meet in some other session in coming weeks. Have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.